you ever wonder why videos about prepping and bunkers and wildlife survival and all those things about if everything falls apart, you could take care of yourself are so popular? We're going to think about that today on Now What Devotions from Trinity Lutheran here in Cyrus. So I am over here in Cyrus, not too far from the fire station. Built a new water treatment facility here not too long ago, and it's a nice one, and it's got all this fancy stuff, this big rocks and drainage, but the thing that caught my attention the other day was the generator. I think generators are kind of funny. I mean, we put them by places that have got to keep going when everything else shut down, and I get that, but they can't go for that long. They're a stopgap measure for when things fall apart. And guess what? Sometimes things fall apart. In our text this week, we could be in a couple of texts, really, I think John or Mark, but either way, we're talking about Palm Sunday. Jesus rides triumphantly into town, and the folks cheer for him, and then, of course, the rest of the story, just a week later, they're cheering, but as a mob. And it kind of makes you, it makes you stop every time. It makes you wonder, what about human nature has it that we just want a hero and then want to tear him down? Planning for the worst is a good idea, right? And we should. But I've been thinking a lot about this, and I'm just going to throw it at you from how I started thinking about it. And you'll have heard me, I'm going to mention this in an article too, but I was reading the other day for my studies, and one of the authors made this point. He said, after the Enlightenment, Copernicus, Galileo, Da Vinci, all these guys, they sort of tumbled humanity's idea that we were the center of the universe, and it was a big deal for all of Western society, some of Eastern, but mostly Western. Well, these days, we sort of firmly have put ourselves back in the middle, but the way we've done it is not with the Bible and with God, the idea that we are the kings of all this stuff. No, we've done the opposite. We have said we can do anything because we can build it, and we can wire it up with all these wires, and we can build these roads, and we can do all this science, and then we will be the center, the all-powerful achievers of our own destinies. It's a nice idea, but it isn't the reality. These things are fragile. You got about a week. I remember year before last when we had a big storm come through and everything shut down. I mean, we were without power for 3-4 days, and people were in trouble. I mean, really were in trouble, and folks had to really come together. We take for granted these things, and it makes you wonder, of course, why all these videos are so popular. If we are not the center of the universe, if we are not the ones who can do anything, the all-powerful humanity, what if that isn't us? I think underlying a lot of our modern conversation right now is a deep fear about the fragility of things around us. The security that we think is so secure, of course, isn't. And, for those of you who grew up during the Cold War, you know this. But many of us, since that time, after the Iron Curtain fell, this sense of deep insecurity that underlies our everyday life is hard. We still remember the pandemic, but we don't talk about it. We know that there's nuclear risks, but we don't like to think about it. And yet we have movies about apocalypse over and over. And we have videos that tell us how to survive off the grid, And of course, they're always about individual survival. They're never about communities. The trajectory of Christians and of faith life says to us, we trust in a Savior to save us, that we cannot save ourselves, that we are not capable of saving ourselves. And Jesus promises a saving that isn't necessarily just this world. At the very least, it will be a redeeming at the end of time of this world. But that doesn't mean a magic fix in the midst of the car accident. It doesn't mean that the power will come back on miraculously. That's not what we're talking about. And that demands faith and trust. And those can be hard to find in our culture. So thinking this week about Palm Sunday, they ask for a hero to come in. And then they promptly realize that hero's not good enough, and they tear him down and say, we want our own destiny, not yours. We do that too. I hope it's a great Holy Week for you. I'll see you all on Palm Sunday. And then, of course, we have the high week of the year with Maundy Thursday services. Don't miss that. There'll be First Communion as well for one of our students. Good Friday, we're sharing services over with Faith First Federated and ourselves Trinity. And then, of course, Sunday morning, bright and early, 7 a.m., Easter service followed by breakfast. We'll see you there. Till then, I'm Pastor Chris, signing off for now. Bye-bye.